Human beings in training disabilities or autistic were shot by our secret interviewer creature, kicked, perforated, mocked, and mistreated by human beings paid to thoroughness for them. As the manufacturer of How movie, I treated in whistleblowers to collect testimony, employed the secret interviewer, and oversaw his shooting. Almost a half a dozen human beings who had treated at Winterbourne type were pursued subsequently as a outcome of our testimony. The misuse was horrible, as was the treachery of confidence. Following our movie was Speak, the later Main Secretary David Mr. Cameron, the later Secretary for Thoroughness, Norman Lamb Mead, and the Conservative Party, Labour, and the Permissive Democrats devoted to closing expert hospitals and driving human beings nearer to their families. How should include been the time how the lives of thousands of human beings in training disabilities or autistic, whose behavior several services fight in, modified ever. Instead of, although, we include been said how the policy pledge has been at first flooded downward and later break. Almost 2,300 human beings in training disabilities or autistic are yet in such a hospitals, frequently far of household and for lot much longer rather than is relevant. Hospitals are not places wherever human beings should dwell, and yet present they yet are. They said us how thoroughness workers were intimidation and mistreating patients. How kind of behavior should never occur in any clinic, and surely not following all the promises how were done following Winterbourne type. Worst, 8 years ago Whorlton room, that is informally run but NHS funded, had been belonging by the identical business as Winterbourne type. One of the families struck by Winterbourne type said us they were stunned a clinic that utilized to be portion of the identical team could as well be offensive. Olivia coordinated and treated 12-time shifts, frequently behind to behind, above more than rather than 2 months, tiring a chamber lie in her upper. The patients whose thoroughness, and too frequently ignore or brutality, how Olivia registered are several of the largest sensitive but as well stimulating human beings in the nation. Olivia favorite conducting period in the patients, but how done her extraordinary amongst the personnel at Whorlton room, largest of whom seemed to disregard the human beings they are paid to thoroughness to. Lot thoroughness workers vigorously amplified, tortured and talked on patients in the largest terrible ways. The mocking and intentional twisting up of patients was nearly intolerable to eyewitness, as was the tongue and relation. Expert who discussed our length told how in one instance which Olivia had shot was testimony of mental torment. Else patient was often intentionally caused by personnel. Olivia observed patient's creature constructively discreet. Thing how should just be a recent refuge is utilized too frequently and NHS figures show how its use is growing. The experience of keeping disappointed human beings downward, frequently on the story and occasionally for length periods of period, is terrible to eyewitness and though worse to suffer. It really include happened once again. The by the government should include flat these issues, 8 years back. We requested Public Health Secretariat Matt's signature for an interviewing on the broad issues, but his click office space said us, we consider any concoction of misuse in the limit severity. Durham Constabulary are now guideline a penal inquiry in the concoction and we cannot commentary on the inquiry time it is continuing. Stairs include been undertaken to provide the security of residents at Whorlton room. With autism human beings and those in training disabilities should get the top probable thoroughness and be back to dwell in their communities. We are work to provide more than human beings back household of clinic as quickly as their treat has completed and considerable invest in society supporting has already led to a 22% reducing in these psychological public health inpatient numbers with 2015. Signet, the business that now owns Whorlton room, told, we are stunned and deep grieved by the concoction done versus members of personnel at Whorlton room, portion of the Dan's Hell team, that Signet newly purchased. We get these concoction very severely. We include hanging all the members of personnel implicated, at once aware all pertinent authorities, consisting the police force, who include now inspired an investigation and we are company operating completely in their inquiry. we include undertaken the lead of transmitting all the patients to some hospitals. The security and thoroughness of our patients and residents is of crucial significance, and we include null toleration of non-professional hold to them. Those involved in the program include devotee, not just several of community's largest sensitive human beings, but as well the thousands of human beings at Signet who job every day in devotion and sympathy to see following the human beings in their thoroughness. The terrible behavior is completely incoherent in Signet public health thoroughness's values and top standards, and we stay completely devoted to supplying the highest quality assurance health that our patients and residents wait and merit.